Well, what do you know? Meryl Streep's got a brain. Ooh, yeah. Alright, so Breitbart reports on a comment that Meryl Streep says. The headline reads, Meryl Streep says, "We hurt boys by calling something toxic masculinity. Women can be effing toxic too." Right on, Meryl Streep. So let's get right into this. Looks like the story is written by Ben Q. This was on the 30th of May. Actress Meryl Streep criticized the use of the term toxic masculinity, arguing that toxicity is a trait that afflicts both sexes, as women can be pretty effing toxic too. Appearing on a cast panel ahead of the season 2 premiere of Big Little Lies, Streep made the comments in response to a male audience member who said he enjoyed the primarily female-targeted show. "Sometimes I think we're hurt," Streep said. "We hurt our boys by calling something toxic masculinity. I do. And I don't find that putting those two words together, because women can be pretty effing toxic. It's toxic people. We have our good angles, and we have our bad ones. I think the labels are less helpful than what we're trying to get to, which is communication, direct, between human beings," she continued. "We're all on the boat together. We've got to make it work." According to the Good Men Project, an organization that seeks to start conversations about the changing roles of men in the 21st century, toxic masculinity is a narrow and repressive description of manhood, designating manhood as defined by violence, sex, status, and aggression. It's the cultural ideal of manliness, where strength is everything while emotions are a weakness, where sex and brutality are yardsticks by which men are measured, while supposedly feminine traits, which can range from emotional vulnerability to simply not being hypersexual, are the means by which your status as man can be taken away, the group said. Streep's comments may come as a disappointment to her progressive fan base, who she regularly plays to in her vociferous criticism of President Donald Trump and conservative leaders. However, she has also previously dodged the question of being a feminist, instead of choosing to describe herself as a humanist. Just this week, fellow actress Gwyneth Paltrow launched a new podcast aimed at helping men fight this scourge of toxic masculinity as part of a new range of products from her lifestyle brand, Goop. Goop? Okay. It feels like we're at a point in the culture where men are rejecting that sort of toxic masculinity, said Goop's chief content officer, Elise Lonin, on announcing the podcast. "We want to do something that was more about the emotional health of men, the importance of vulnerability, and the acknowledgement of how hard these things can be." And you can follow the writer, Ben Q, on Facebook, and Twitter at Ben_Q, or email him at bkew@breitbart.com. So that was pretty well thought out, and I can't disagree with that. I think if you're a little boy, try to think back to when you're a little kid. And if you're a little boy and you hear the term toxic masculinity all the time, and somebody tells you, well, toxic's bad and masculinity means male, you start to think boys are bad. As a little kid, you're going to think, I'm bad. That's what they're telling these little kids all the time. Toxic masculinity. A more appropriate term would be toxic feminism, because feminism isn't a sex or a group of people, really. It's a belief system that males are bad. Think about it. Feminism is equivalent to male chauvinism, the hatred of the other sex. That's what a lot of these people are. It's fine to be proud of your sex and to fight for equal rights or fight policies or issues that are wrong or discriminatory. But hatred of the other sex, that's what we're talking about here. That's where this ultra-feminism has gotten to. All men are bad. And that line of thinking will only breed retaliation. Look at this MGTOW movement. Men going their own way. On the surface, that's a pretty soft response. men are just giving up on women. They're not hating them. But there's a small portion that probably are getting to that point. And that's almost an understandable response. Not understandable to hate somebody, but to retaliate like that. It's almost to be expected. We have to find a way to start bridging these gaps. Bring people together. We are so much stronger united. That's why they have this saying, united we stand, divided we fall. And society is so full of divisions everywhere you look. Black versus white, men versus women, this religion versus that religion. We're divided amongst everything. Republicans versus Democrats. What happened to, well, we're all Americans? There used to be a saying, politics ends at the nation's shores. There's so much wisdom in that statement. At its core, it means we're going to disagree. We're going to have arguments. But when faced with an external threat, we come together and we stay united. That's a principle that doesn't go away. It's as true today as it ever was. And that's what this ultra-feminism, the toxic feminist, and the misogynist for that matter, don't understand. And I think that's what Meryl Streep is trying to say. The toxic feminist is bad. However, there's starting to become a new type of feminist. Meryl Streep is saying she's not a feminist. She calls herself a humanist. I like that. I'm a humanist. I want what's good for men and women. I don't think one sex is better than the other. It's just stupidity to think that a whole group of people are bad. And I don't care if you're talking, a sex, you're talking about 3.5 billion people on the planet? All men are bad? Are you kidding me? What kind of idiot believes that? Or all women are bad? You can't even say that about smaller groups. Just like you can't say some religion is bad. Yeah, there's going to be bad people in that religion. And there's going to be good ones. I forget which Star Wars movie they quoted, only a Sith deals in absolutes. At the time, I think that was a shot at Bush and his war on terror. But it's pretty poignant. Nothing is absolute. And we got to get rid of these kind of phrases, toxic masculinity. What's a little kid going to do? Yeah, he's going to be hurt at first. While he's young, he's going to think he's bad. But what kind of psychological effect is that going to have on that kid? He becomes a teenager and he believes he's bad just because he's a boy. Nothing good could come of that. He's probably either going to shut down and just regard himself as a failure, or he might turn violent. Say, well, if I'm bad, I might as well be bad. And do bad things. Is that what you want? I really agree with Meryl Streep on this. It's good to see someone in Hollywood that's actually using their brain and thinking about some of these terms that we throw around so often and without thinking. So good for her. Hopefully others will stand up and follow suit. What do I know? I'm just an old noob. Thanks for watching. Oh yeah! Subscribe, share, and like.